and chances are nobody wishes you ill, nobody wishes you harm. Like, everyone's operating in their own convictions, and like, as long as we can continue doing that and respecting each other, we will continue to live in a largely peaceful society.
And what I've said a lot on this podcast too is like, when we get outside of our little bubbles and we like talk to our neighbor, your neighbor that like thinks the exact opposite of you does not literally want you to die. And I think that's something we have to remind ourselves on both sides. Welcome to Those Are the Girls with Mallory and Friends, the podcast where we explore life, career, relationships, and pop culture through a Christian conservative perspective. Each episode, we dive into deep topics that matter most to us women, from navigating your career with grace and confidence to watering meaningful relationships grounded in faith. We're here to empower you to embrace your femininity and stand firm in your beliefs. We'll also tackle the latest in pop culture, discussing how they align or clash with our values. Let's uncover the truth and encourage each other to live boldly and authentically. So whether you're at home or on your commute, get ready for some fabulous conversations. Grab your teacup, pour yourself some tea. Come on, girlies, we're changing culture. The views expressed on this podcast are our own and do not reflect our employers. Enjoy. Hello, everyone. You are listening to Those Are the Girls with Mallory and Friends. I'm Mallory.
I'm Elise.
And we are changing culture and bringing back traditional values. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I said this year I'm going to have more friends on. And lo and behold, I have my friend. I hope when this is like displayed, I am pointing at you and not like at a random opposite side. But on my computer, I'm pointing at you. This is my friend Elise.
Hello. Studio audience goes wild.
Yes. Everyone calm down. Thank you. Gotta let her speak. Elise is a friend of mine that I've known for a little over almost 2 years, I guess, right? No, that doesn't make any sense. We met in 2022, so almost 3 years.
Wow.
Because and I met her through, I would say, like pro-life stuff. Essentially, through pro-life stuff.
Yeah.
And she lives like really close to me, which is very rare. Because where I live. My other friend Kara, has Kara been on, or I was on hers?
I don't remember.
But Kara, part of the Mallory multiverse, Kara also lives out here too. So I spend time with Kara and Elise more than I do with some of my other friends. Partially because we live close to each other.
Yay for
proximity. That helps grow friendships. Wait, what'd you say?
I said yay for proximity.
Yeah, that helps grow friendships. So and then we do like writing together and blah blah blah. Elise, so let's tell everybody a little bit about yourself. Welcome to the multi-world of Mallory. Or those are the girls. Let's say those are the girls.
Those are the girls. Mallory's multiverse, so I'm Elise. I am a young adult. I'm a writer. I'm a person who's in the workforce. I'm a woman. I'm in pro-life world. I'm, just making my way downtown walking fast, as they say. So so I'm excited to be joining Those Other Girls podcast. I've been on some journeys with you as far as like the tea party, and that kind of thing, where we form the essential Charlotte base, but we are like learning and growing and thriving, and so I am definitely in a transitional phase as far as like who I am and what I do, but it's all good. It's just growing and being a young adult. So
it is really talking about the transitional phase. It is part of being an adult, and something that like I've had to like learn and mature and realize like not everything's always going to be like super great hunky dory. At least for me, there was a time where it did feel like that. Like everything's always going to be grand. I'm never going to have a real problem. I mean, I'll have a problem. I might stub my toe, but not a real problem.
Right.
And then like when I started having real problems, and then more real problems, and then more, it was overwhelming. But I think that that's something that you have to realize, that like life is kind of a combination of problems, and you just solve them, and then you have your little moments of like happiness and peace and blah blah blah. But it is kind of just like something perfect. So it's just part of growing and like, maturing and
Yeah,
living life.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, Elise, well, I'm trying to think of like, when was the last? I don't think it's been a long time since I had a friend. It's never been on again. I'm trying to think if there's anything special. I don't think I really do anything like a rapid fire, quick questions. Let's get to know you. I don't think I've ever done anything like that. So I won't. But can you tell us anything exciting that's happened to you this week?
This week?
Yeah, or the last 2 weeks if you want.
So at this point, the most exciting thing that's happening in my life is like I'm really making progress on the book that I'm writing. So I've been doing a lot of like, since I am in between jobs at the moment, I have a lot more time to dedicate towards really making progress on word count goals and everything like that. So that's been really like a nice, good feeling to be like, okay, like when I was working 48 hours a week, I didn't have time necessarily to like really get in there, and like make some progress, but now I do. So that's been good.
You've been
And then,
posting earlier too, I noticed.
huh?
You've been posting in the thing earlier too.
Yeah, exactly. I'm meeting deadlines, critique group. I'm like top tier, I'm showing up, I'm there. So that's been good. And then also like applying for jobs, figuring out, okay, I've been working full time in pro-life world for the last 3 years, and I'm kind of transitioning out of that and more into like what my degree is in, so more like zoology, wildlife ecology, that kind of thing. So exploring, okay, what's the avenue that I want to take to get towards like more of my permanent career. Of course, I'll still be involved in activism and standing up for human rights and all of those things. But so that's the kind of the exciting update, I guess, in that department is there's this endangered wildlife preserve about an hour away from our area, and I'm in communication with them about potentially going and like living on site and working with them and their animals for an internship like the second half of this summer. So
Whoa.
that would be really cool because it's primarily like tigers, other big cats, and just to be able to like get that experience is going to be like, just a cool thing to do and to say that you've done. And obviously I'm this is my year of poverty, as I like to call it, because until then, if I do end up landing that internship, I'll be just trying to like work and earn some money, because during the internship, I will be earning almost nothing, so like one of those life problems. How do I continue financially supporting myself, paying my bills, making progress towards a secure financial future, while also getting this experience that I really do need if I want to work, like with these kinds of animals, like for the foreseeable future, so it's exciting. It's a big adjustment. Obviously it's a good kind of a good distance away. So I'd be like moving there and like living there and working there 6 days a week. So it's,
Whoa.
really like would be a big commitment, but like a really cool commitment,
And you said it's exotic animals?
Yeah, like endangered animals, primarily like big cats. So tigers, lions, jaguars, like that kind of thing. Which is
Whoa.
how many people can say that they've worked with like, large carnivores before. So I really am crossing my fingers. I hope it works out. God always knows best. Like, you never know why he doesn't open the doors that he doesn't open.
That's
So,
true.
we're just gonna continue pursuing all the leads that I can and just trust his plan more than anything,
Yeah. Well, that's exciting. And one thing, like a positive thing about is like you're young and you're not tied down to anything really. So you can kind of go and do these like really cool experiences right now. Like
Exactly.
that's one of the positives, being single is blah blah blah, especially when you get older. But one of the
Yeah.
positives is you can just go out and just do stuff. You can like experience life. You can make decisions that like are kind of
Mhm.
wild and crazy. That's one of my goals this year is just to make, and I have already made like 2 or 3 that are kind of like wild and crazy. A
Awesome.
little rebellious. Because I can. I mean, you can. Like when you're, married and have kids, you kind of have to be a little bit more like, well, maybe I shouldn't do this dangerous thing that could cost,
Uh-huh.
my kids might not have their parents anymore. But
Right.
now it's kind of like, oh, you know what, whatever. Who cares? Just do it. So
Why
that's one of the cool, why not? That's one of the cool things about, just kind of being young and like not
not?
having any real responsibilities. And you can take 6 weeks out because, like, realistically, probably wouldn't be best if you were married and you had kids and you had a
Yeah.
mortgage. You probably
Yeah.
should, focus more on like, hey, girlie, get a job. But
Exactly. You know.
yeah, get a career, I guess would be probably
Right.
the right word that they would tell you. But now it's kind of like work what you can, go
Mhm.
and enjoy life. So
Exactly. Yeah.
that's
And
cool.
that's the importance also of like making good financial decisions as you can at every stage of life because I'm even though I've been working in a nonprofit for the last 3 years, like I have not been making the kind of money that I could be making somewhere else. But I was really concentrated on like saving and I was still able to do cool things, but I really like discerned between my wants and my needs enough to where I was able to still build up my savings, still start a high yield savings, and so it's like I have money put away so that I can kind of move into a year of like job transition, job training, though that's not going to be putting a lot of money in my pocket, but I know I'm not going to be out on the street or starving or
Yeah,
anything, because I was wise when I had more coming in than I will
yeah.
probably for the next calendar year, you know?
Mm. Yeah,
So,
that is so important. I actually want to do an episode on that. I cannot speak on that because, like, that is probably my biggest life regret. Is like and honestly to this day, I'm really not that great at managing money. Like, don't.
mhm.
Anyways, I did not like. I didn't put aside savings when I probably should
Yeah.
have, and say what you want to say about money, but like, money equals freedom, and like, you have to sometimes stay in situations you don't necessarily want to stay in. And I
Mhm.
can talk for hours on that if you know me personally.
Yeah.
Um, and do things that you necessarily wouldn't want to do because of finances. And that's
Mhm.
especially in this economy.
Yeah.
Hopefully after today, we're recording this on Inauguration Day. Hopefully
Mhm.
after today, it'll get better. But those things take time.
Yeah.
But yeah, like having money set aside, I think, especially those of you listening young, like try to save as much money as possible. And that is, and
Mhm.
invest. Once again, I can't tell you who or what to invest in, but go some beat bopping on your computer and figure it out.
Mhm.
Because like having that extra money equals freedom. Like money can't buy happiness, and I know Elise and I've talked about this, and that's great, but like money, I'm sorry, like I do think money can't buy happiness.
It
It
is
can at least buy
important.
security.
Yeah, it's important. So
Yeah,
and it's like it's instant versus delayed gratification, right? So
100%.
I could, you could be blowing your money on whatever you want now. Where does that put you when you do end up without a job or you do end up, and like ultimately at the end of the day, we're both very blessed. We have like family support, we have great friends, but you can't rely on other people to fix
No.
your problems. You can't rely, I mean, I can't tell you the number of people that relied on a boyfriend or a husband and then things happen, life happens and you may end up without some aspect of the things that you're counting on now. So if you haven't started preparing for a plan B, that's just going to cause you a lot of undue stress and anxiety later on. So, just food for thought.
Yeah. And that's been your financial lessons from those other girls. Okay.
You're welcome.
Um, so for me this week, I've had a really crazy topsy-turvy, cuckoo, cocoa, banana pants week, that I won't get into right now, but that's been kind of crazy. A really cool thing I did was I saw The Greatest Showman for the first time yesterday, actually at Elise's house. Wow. Fabulous movie. Honestly, and this is something crazy to say, I think the music was almost better than Wicked. I know that's huge, but that is truly how I feel. Like, I listened to some of it on the way home, I listened to
Yeah.
it before I went to bed. And another thing that is, I'm going to admit, the villain song that's like the antithesis of the message of the movie is my favorite song. And I listening to it, I'm like, this is so beautiful. The words are not the best, I don't think. I was like I was looking at the lyrics, like trying to see like how do I twist this to be good? Couldn't really find it. So if you know,
You could find it though, Mallory. I think I
I can. If I work a little bit harder, I could probably figure out
Well, because you're talking about never enough. So, like, the message is, like mountains of gold. I see it as I could have everything that I ever want in this life, and it would never be enough in comparison to like the value of the relation, like the people, like the eternal things,
Right.
like
Now that part was unsaid, but yes, you're right. That
yeah,
is the way to spin it.
that's
Um,
the way. Yeah,
that part was unsaid in the song.
there it's there if you really look for it. So, you know, just
Yeah. It's so good. I loved it. I actually, and this is a side note in general, was talking to my brother about this. So if you grew up super evangelical, you might remember this thing called Bible Man. And Bible Man was like Batman. And so did you have Bible Man?
Bible Man scared me. I was terrified of Bible Man.
Okay. Well, if I can ever find it, I'll have to show you. And this might embarrass James, but I don't really care. There's a picture of him for Bible Man, in the Bible Man costume he got for Christmas, and he wore it a lot. Yeah. No, we were a Bible Man household. And there was this episode where Bible Man fought the Prince of Pride, and the Prince of, and kids shows, everybody has a song. The Prince of Pride theme song, his like song, overarching song, I guess his villain song.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it did platinum in my house. I loved that song. And I remember I would be singing it at school. I went to a Christian school. Me and like a couple people would be singing it at school. And I should be like, hey, that's not like, these aren't good things. Like we aren't supposed to have pride. But I'm like, oh, I am that great. It was just so good. I don't know why. It was so good. And then there's this other Christian, I believe it was the Story Keepers. They did an episode. Did you watch the Story Keepers?
I don't think so.
Might be a Christian school thing.
Maybe.
Yeah. Sometimes you tell stories from like your homeschool days. I'm like, oh wow, I feel as if I was lamer. Like the stereotype. I feel like, wow, I was actually kind of lamer than the homeschoolers.
Yeah, no, homeschoolers, we were living it up. We were having a grand old time. But the Bible Man one that I remember was like, I don't know. I just remember there was like stuff coming out of somebody's mouth, like nasty, icky, gicky stuff, and it would like infect, like it infected Bible Man, and it was like.
Oh, that might have been from the Gossip Queen, who her throne was a salon chair, which I distinctively remember that. It was a salon chair.
So Mallory could not sit in a salon chair for a calendar year after that.
It like made me very uncomfortable because I go to the salon with my mom.
Yeah.
And just kind of like, oh my gosh, is this like the Gossip Queen? Like,
it's the Gossip Queen coming.
And, and if you've been to a salon, especially like a, I don't know, like for lack of a better word, like a Black personal salon, like it is the gossip place. Like, did you see so-and-so? And like our salon, everybody went to the same church too. And we all went to we all went to the same Christian school. So it was, anyway, good and fun times, learn some stuff. Anyway,
that's awesome.
But anyway, so the Story Keepers did an episode really quick. I'm gonna finish this one, and then we gotta get into the actual story.
Yeah,
the Story Keepers did this. They went to, or like they did a thing where they went to, or was it the Story Keepers or the other group of like a brother and sister that would go back in time, Bible times. Anyway, one of those little Christian evangelical things that they would have us watch. They did one where they went back in time to when they were trying to pick Barabbas or Jesus. And there was like a song, "We Want Barabbas." That was so good. That was another one. Like, I just have this history of like liking villain songs. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
But I mean, sometimes the villain song is just so much better than the rest of them.
Exactly.
Movie.
Sometimes you just have to acknowledge when a bop is a bop, and those were bops.
Yes, those were the Prince of Pride and We Want Barabbas were. And you know what? Never Enough, Chef's Kiss. All that to say, that was such a good song. This Is Me is a really good song too. Like, it's close second. Like, it made me feel the way that like Defying Gravity made me feel. So if you're listening and you guys have other recommendations of movies that like make you feel that way, let me know. Like, Defying Gravity and This Is Me like made me like, here we go. I got it. I can keep going. No one's going to hold me down. I'm fine the way I am. That's how it made me feel. So if you know any movies that make you feel that way, like, leave them in the comments. Let me know.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess that's that. We should really get into the stories. It's like 20 minutes in.
Let's do it. That seems reasonable, I feel.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah.
And we've
And
had some good
personally,
discussions. Like we talked about finances, we talked about good music, you know. That's quality yapping right there,
yeah,
I feel.
100%. I mean, that's kind of a story in and of itself.
Exactly. We'll call that.
So, are you ready? Do you have a cup with you? I meant to tell you
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Love it. Let us get into the stories. Clink. One day I'm going to have an actual sound that I don't have to say clink.
Honestly, you should come out with merchandise where it's like clink with like the little like a quote, like either quotation marks or like the little asterisks, you know. That would be super cute. Like it's
That would be
your
cute.
trademark at this point. You say clink. It doesn't matter if you have a clink sound or not, you know.
Miss Artist, am I hearing something? Okay, Miss Artist.
We'll see. We'll see.
Let's talk after the cameras aren't rolling.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, here we go. Oh, so today we're recording Inauguration Day. I honestly want to get this out by tonight because I have like a schedule.
Yeah.
That also reminds me, last Thursday's episode about Megan Stoner actually got some really good traction. And
Nice.
everyone listening, someone messaged me that had an interaction with her and had been getting asked for money. So like the whole purpose of that episode was really to raise awareness. And that is what's happening. People are realizing that this woman is a scammer. And, you know, like, just alert. She's a scammer.
Yeah,
Like
that's great.
Amanda, like Coco Berthman, all of those people, they're scammers. And like, it's our duty, if you know, to like let your fellow men know.
Yeah.
Okay. So that episode's going well. The upcoming episode, you guys will be the first to hear. I'm interviewing Brooke. Oh, right.
What's her name? What's her name?
I'm terrible at last names, but I know her name. I just
Brooke.
Brooke. I heard from Brooke on before, so I don't want people to think this is Brooke because she was a former sugar baby, as well as she used to work for Seeking Arrangements. That is not our Brooke. I just want to clarify. The Brooke that I've had on before, I've had two Brooks before.
Different Brooke.
Neither one of them is this Brooke, by the way, but the Brooke that we did an amazing episode. It's going to be 2 parts. She is such an amazing woman. I'm very honest. Like, it was such a good episode, like, very informative. So, you know, prepare for that on Thursday. Okay, that's just like that information. So, anyway, either way, by the time you hear this, we'll be in Trump's America. Yeah, honestly, that's what, you know, that's what it is. It's Trump's America. He saved TikTok. He has survived assassination attempts. It's interesting.
It's very
What'd you
dramatic.
say?
I said it's very dramatic. Like,
Very dramatic.
feels like
very-
the plot to some book, and I'm not sure like what genre of book this is gonna be.
Right. And I don't know what direction the book is going in. I couldn't tell you. So yeah, so Inauguration Day. A couple of thoughts I have really quick about this. 8 years ago, I guess, when no one really knew what was going to happen. I think that it was a different attitude when he was being inaugurated. I was going to say elected. He's been elected when he was inaugurated. Really different attitude. I think this time, a lot of people have a lot more hope. Let me back up. People on our, like, conservatives, I'll say that. Conservative Republicans have a lot more hope. We have, at least me, I can speak for myself, and like some others that I've read and seen. I feel like that we are moving in the right direction when it comes to policies, when it comes to certain aspects.
Yeah.
There are people who do not feel that way. There are people who are probably crying, people who are emotional, people who are feeling hopeless. They don't feel that way, so I cannot necessarily relate to that. But what I can say is that at the end of the day, the president is just the president. I mean, obviously executive orders are going to happen. We are hoping that he will pardon the pro-life prisoners. That's one thing we're hoping for. So the orders going to happen. But for the most part, a lot of laws and things like that are done by Congress. So I think that sometimes we put things in perspective. I think it'll be better. It's easier for us to like really like calm down and like feel better about things, to not be stressed. And those of us who are excited, because like, and you know, I have been a critic of Trump, and that's not a secret. But I reckon I'm very glad it's not Kamala. I'll tell you that much. Very glad it's not Kamala. And I lost my train of thought.
Yeah. Well, I can, unless you can think of what you were gonna say. Yeah, I mean, I will say, I think I'm cautiously optimistic. I think that we do need somebody that's going to focus on fixing the American economy and, restoring the prosperity of American businesses back in office, which I think historically has been the Republican Party. But Trump has made a lot of decisions in this recent campaign that I did question and made me much less excited than I would have been if we had kind of continued more of the energy of his first term. As far as like in context of his pro-life stances, it seems like he's definitely taken steps back on that and tried to recant, which I'm still confused what the logic was behind that, because nobody thinks he's moderate. Like you either, you know what I'm saying? Either the Republicans are like, oh, he's like, abandoning ship, and then the Democrats still see him as the person who's responsible for getting rid of Roe v. Wade. So nobody is like, oh, he's like the safe middle ground,
Right.
It's like he's better than, like Kamala Harris, who was very, very aggressively pro-abortion, in that regard. But, like that. And then so like there are things that I think it's safe to say people on both sides of the aisle are, cautious about. You want to keep your eyes open at all times, whether it's your candidate that ends up in office or whether it's the other guy. But at the end of the day, like, everyone needs to just continue to make the decision that's best for that, like keep living your life, right? Like, don't let whoever is in office or whatever is going on, in DC or whatever, like keep you from finding peace and joy in your own, because like you can only do what you can do, and what you can't do is beyond your control. So like if today is a hard day for you, or like if whatever day is hard for you, like try to just take deep breaths and realize, like you're okay, you're safe, like people are looking out for you, people are in your corner, and chances are nobody wishes you ill, nobody wishes you harm. Like everyone's operating in their own convictions, and like as long as we can continue doing that and respecting each other, we will continue to live in a largely peaceful society,
Yeah, I could not have said it better myself. And what I've said a lot on this podcast too is like, when we get outside of our little bubbles and we like talk to your neighbor that like thinks the exact opposite of you does not literally want you to die. And I think that's something we have to remind ourselves on both sides. Because I hear people on the right say it too, people on the left say it as well. And your neighbor does not literally want you to die. Your neighbor wants to have shelter, provide for their family, and to live peacefully. Okay. And we all want that. So I think sometimes just putting that back into perspective, hanging out with your friends, hugging your friends, I think those are things that like really just for us to remember. Now, back to people hopeful and excited. I also like what you said about the economy. I personally need this economy to get better. I mean, I don't know if anybody else listening, not to make it about me, but like I personally need this economy to get better. And I do think that from the things that I've seen, from things I've read, maybe I'll have someone come on and talk about it. I think we are going to be an upward trajectory for the economy, which is great. Once we get the economy back up and running, things like that like trickled down to other things. You'll see that you'll be hanging out with your friends more. Because like reality is like kind of like with the song and what we were talking about earlier, kind of full circle. What makes life lovely and worth living is our interactions with people. It's the external stuff. It's being able to go on experiences and being able to, your friend got broken up with, being able to buy her a basket to take to her, and you guys sitting at home eating ice cream and you just comforting her and paying for her to watch. You guys might have to rent the $10 13 going on 30 copy on Amazon. Like tiny, like that's what I mean. Like those tiny little things. Like that is kind of what like makes life worth living and like loving and all that other stuff. So I think it really does trickle down on that regard. And this is something totally superficial. I'm excited for the White House fashion that's going to be displayed. Melania and Usha, I don't really know how to pronounce her name. Second lady, which I was yesterday. I hate the term second lady. I don't know what, and that other lady isn't good either. Like I don't know what it is, but like I do not like the term second lady. But whatever. They chef's kiss. I mean, all of the outfits I've seen so far. Oh man, I love it. Absolutely love it. I'm excited for that.
That's
not awesome. That Jill and Kamala weren't well dressed, but there's a difference. Let's be real. And And it kind of pulls back to, I will be also announcing the winner of the color analysis soon as well. But that goes back to the episode with Lizzie earlier, 2 Thursdays ago, about like dressing your style. And I was talking to my brother about this, and he was like, well, those women aren't when you are running for office, you do kind of have to dress more masculine. But I don't know. I don't believe that. I don't
Yeah,
believe that.
I think that's like a little bit of misogyny. I think
Yeah.
you accept the limitations that are put on you. So if you want to be a femininomenon, and be in
Mhm.
office and dress like a woman as a woman, I think that's well within your rights.
100%. And I think that Melania and Usha, they dress their silhouettes, like
Mm-hmm.
what Liz was talking about, dressing like your style. Like your style is just part of your bone structure. And I think they do that because Kamala, if you guys have seen Kamala outside of like those awful pantsuits, same with Hillary. Let's be real.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of those awful pantsuits, women, I'll say Kamala, is very pretty. Like especially for her. I don't want to say that, but like she's very pretty.
Yeah.
I'll say it, considering her age. As you get older, not that you're less pretty, but like in your category, she's pretty. Okay.
Yeah.
But like in those god awful pantsuits, you can't tell.
Mm,
So, but if she dressed more her style, like her shape and everything, she would. Anyway,
yeah.
I'm excited for that. That's like a very superficial thing about me. um,
But
yeah,
it's the little things, right?
it is.
You're allowed to be excited about seeing cool outfits,
Yeah,
Nothing wrong with that.
yeah, you're right. It's never enough. Okay, so that's inauguration. So also today is MLK Day, which is kind of depending on your mindset.
Mm,
It's an interesting thing to happen today. Yeah. You
yeah.
have any thoughts about it being today?
Um, I mean, I guess I echo the sentiments of Martin Luther King that we all know and love, that
Yeah.
hopefully this is the beginning of America's next steps into, equality and, the prospering of all of our citizens. I guess it's also a reminder that like Trump isn't perfect, he's not God. MLK wasn't perfect, he wasn't God, but they can both be used for the benefit of our nation and our society, like
Yeah.
no one is beyond redemption, no one is beyond making a positive change in this world. So I don't know, I guess my encouragement would be for anyone, regardless of where on the aisle you fall, if you are a Christian and you have hope that God is in control, that you would pray for guidance for our leaders, because, right, like we do want to have a nation where, all men are created equal and where we can all stand side by side and, like have hope for a future and a dream for our future. So, I think it's hopefully a good omen, like a reminder, of where our focus should be, right? And like
Yeah.
that should be on helping as many people as we can with the time that we have on earth, whether we're in the office as the president of the United States or whether we're in our cubicle office,
Yeah.
just taking phone calls, answering emails, like you have a place to fight for what you believe in.
Yeah. I love what you just said. And I'm just wanting to kind of add a little bit and then we can move forward. I do think it's like you said, I hope this is a good omen and it's just kind of like a reminder. 2 of the quotes, I'm gonna summarize them. I love, judging people by the content of their character, not their skin.
Mm-hmm.
I think that like we say that, like that's like a thing that I obviously do that, but we're human. So sometimes I think we don't. Like, let's be real with ourselves. Sometimes that we need to be reminded of that. Sometimes we have to step back and like do that. And I think like today is a good day to remember that. I think it's a good day to remember that for a myriad of reasons. And the other one I love is when like love drives out hate or something like that. I think it's another thing just
Right.
to remember that especially as Christians, loving someone is going to always be better than hating them. Now, we can go into what that looks like. Not right now, but we can one day. But I just think like when you're remembering interacting with people, it is loving someone that is going to make the difference rather than hating them. And
Right.
that's also biblical. So, yeah. Happy MLK Day. we wouldn't be sitting here if he hadn't done what he done,
True.
I guess.
Probably.
Yeah, it less likely we'd be sitting here.
Yeah. But maybe
And
we'd be trailblazers. I have to have hope in my own character.
that's true, yeah. We could
Uh,
go underground.
you know.
And then also happy inauguration day to all those who celebrate.
Yay!
Okay, now on to like more meat and potato stories. Sorry, before that, I want to mention I'm looking for bloggers. If you like to write and you want to write for Those Are the Girls, please let me know. The latest blog that's out, as you can tell, like my coughing has gotten a lot better. I'm
She's
still
fine.
coughing. What'd you say?
I said she's fine.
Yeah, I'm okay. Last week, Isabel, if you were listening, last week Isabel, she's like, you gotta go to the doctor. Please go to the doctor. And I'm like, and love you, girl. I did not. So anyway, so I did a blog post 30 things that I've learned from my 30s. That is, it's literally just a list, and then I'm going to I think I'm gonna do like a short 30-second videos of each one, like kind of talking about it for 5 seconds, 30
Nice.
seconds technically. And I want to talk. So 4, 5, and 6, I want to say I just randomly grabbed them. It's better to attend events alone than wish you had gone. Nothing is wrong with liking things different than your friends. And number 6, do that thing, start the podcast, start the business, create the blog. Those are just some of the things that I've learned over the years. Just a little bit of taste.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. Next story, I guess, is the rise and fall of the TikTok ban. So, unless you've been living under a rock, Saturday, TikTok, around a little bit after 8:30 Eastern, TikTok was no longer available in the US. And then, I want to say around noon Sunday, TikTok became available in the US. Not even 24 hours, okay? Let's talk about that first. It wasn't even 24 hours. And let me read to you, for those who don't have TikTok, who don't care about TikTok, who didn't know. So let me read to you what TikTok told us. So a little bit after 8. Oh, actually, I did the screenshot at 10:30. So I guess around 10:30. I thought it was after 8. Around 10:30. Actually, wait, no. The first screenshot I did was at 9. So I'm right. So first, let me tell you guys. First, this was what they told us. We regret that the U.S. law banning TikTok will take effect on January 19th and force us to make our services temporarily unavailable. We're working to restore our service in the U.S. as soon as possible, and we appreciate your support. Please stay tuned. I took the screenshot at 9 o'clock on Saturday. I went back at 10:30 because I saw people were posting like other screenshots, and I was like, what is this? Then at 10:30, this is what they said. A law banning TikTok has been enacted in the U.S. Unfortunately, that means you can't use TikTok for now. We are fortunate that President Trump has indicated that he will work with us on a solution to reinstate TikTok once he takes office. Please stay tuned. Okay, so this was 10:30 on Saturday. By 2 on Sunday, it said, welcome back. Thanks for your patience and support. As a result of President Trump's efforts, that TikTok is back in the U.S. You can continue to create, share, and discover all the things you love on TikTok, which is hilarious to me that it was so quick. A couple things, and then you can give yours. I just have a couple things I want to say. Number 1, I knew it. If you listened to my episode last week, I told you it was coming right back. I'll admit, I didn't think it would be in less than 24 hours. But I told you not to worry. I told you it was going to be back. That's the first thing I want to say. So I told you so. Number 2, hilarious. All of the people who were like spilling secrets and stuff, hilarious and also stupid, because it wasn't like social media or like you were dying. It was just like this one app was no longer going to be available. And the third thing. So I want to give some perspective because I have a platform and I can yap about this.
And I could do that.
I want to give some perspective. In my last year in college, I was in the international relations program. Believe it or not, like that's actually the direction my life was going in, like international foreign service. I took Arabic in college and everything.
She needs to get back on her Duolingo and keep learning Arabic.
I need to.
That's my public call out. Continue.
And yeah, no, that's it's on my list to do this year. Okay, so I was in the international relations program, so we could do special. We would do special spring break programs. So for 10 days for spring break, one year we went to China. one of the best trips I've ever been on. Loved our teacher. Our teacher he grew up in China and then he moved to the US, and he was a Christian, which is a big deal because, as you know, like, religion is suppressed in general, not just Christianity, but mainly Christianity in China, even though China has the largest growing Christian population. And he was like the funniest, goofiest dad on earth. Like, when we were, first of all, we walked up the Great Wall of China. So in my head, I don't know why I wasn't thinking, Great Wall of China is like a slant. It's like it's literally uphill the entire time. So I'm like dying, but nobody else is. So I'm just like, I'm literally dying. My teacher has done this, or like the teacher guide guy has done this 1,000 times. He's like, I'm tired. I don't want to go anymore. And the way he said it was just so funny. But it's like, oh, I'll stay back with you. Me and another girl were like, we'll stay back with you, so you're not by yourself. But I was like dying. Like, it was so hard. I'm so glad I did it, but it was so hard.
Yeah.
Anyway, so like, he was goofy, silly, he was funny. Part of things that we were able to do because of the program we were with, and because of our teacher, we were able to go visit Alibaba. Alibaba is like Amazon on steroids in China. I'm sure we've all, maybe not all, but a good chunk of us have shopped from there. Like, it really is. It's Amazon in China. So we took it to Alibaba, the headquarters. First of all, we couldn't have our phones and we couldn't take video. It was like, things were like, it was like out of a Marvel movie, how the technology there. It was like the craziest thing. It was like it would come out of the screen and like in a movie, like, it was so crazy. I've never seen anything like that before. So one of the things that he explained, Alibaba, is created by this man, I think it's like Jack or something like that. He created his business, but it's so intricately woven with the government. And I think this is just something that we as Americans can't really like get our head around. Is like, businesses in China are connected to the government. It's not like those of you who have small businesses in China, the government, not just like, oh, we pay taxes. No. The government will be, okay, you need to do this. It's intricate. Like, it's part of it. No matter how big or small the business, like, that's just how it is. And I think we can't wrap our mind around that. I think that's so hard for us to understand. And I'm not necessarily saying that, like, China is, like, I don't want to say, like, well, no, I don't want to say it. No, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say what I'm thinking. So yeah, obviously I won't be posting this part on TikTok. But this clip won't go to TikTok. But my point is, though, the businesses are so intricately connected, and I think it's so hard for us to understand. And when a government does not have the same values and missions as our government, it is a national security threat. I'm sorry, that is the truth. That is how it is. A lot of people say, well, they're upset because, well, China also owns land. Okay, that's wrong too. Like, the whataboutism sometimes like annoys me so much. Like, yes, that is also wrong. And once again, like I said, it's not going to go on TikTok. I have a TikTok. So this is the other half of it. I enjoy TikTok. When TikTok first came out, I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to be on there dancing. I'm not going to do anything. And I still don't dance. But, I share some thought. And okay, so there's that aspect of it. There's also the community aspect. There are some people on there that there's no way our paths would ever cross, but they understand how I feel about certain things that no one in my real life does. Like, some of the experiences that I've had that some of my friends would never have been experienced by other people. And like, the way, like, hearing that validation, or just knowing like you're not alone, I'm sorry, it's indescribable. And that's only on TikTok. You don't find that on Instagram. I'm sorry, you just don't.
Which is weird. It's weird to me how it can be like, it's, like how different are social media platforms that you could, like connect to people so differently,
100%. And I'm going to talk about that in a second as a content creator myself. So yeah, like, there's that aspect of TikTok, where like the community, or like I posted actually yesterday, I am going to the Justin Bieber night at the Underground, and I want to make a necklace that's kind of like Justin Bieber theme, but I'm like trying to figure out themes and stuff. And I have a t-shirt that I want to like cut up. Obviously I can look on Pinterest, YouTube, Instagram, but like the interface is so much easier to understand. It's like simpler on TikTok, and it has been helpful. Like, things like that, I think. And I'm don't make any money yet, but I'm actually like my trajectory is eventually. So pray for me there. Once I can money. But like there are people who have been able to pay off their student loans. They still have jobs, but they're able to pay off their student loans. They are able to do all these other things because of that. So like it's so much more than just like this app is just for young kids to goof off. Is that happening? Sure, 100%. But it's just so much more than that. And I think that's what makes it so complicated. And I think that like, if Trump is able to figure out how to get the government not so intricately entwined with ByteDance, like more power to him. I completely understand why he does. Like, I understand when people say they don't trust it. I get it. It makes plenty sense. I don't trust it either. To an extent, obviously, because I have one. I mean, I'm on there, like, follow me. Those are the girls. But, and that's the other thing, too. People have found the podcast because of TikTok. People learn a lot about, like, pro-life issues, about how Trump isn't the devil, things like that from TikTok. So there are positives. And it's like some of the things, like the perfect example, like the attitude on TikTok is so different than the attitude on Instagram. Like and someone described perfect. On Instagram, it does feel like you kind of have to be like perfect. You gotta have the lipstick on. You gotta make sure your hair is good. And if you're gonna post, and then on TikTok, like people are posting in bonnets and going viral because like you're just posting your thoughts. Whereas Instagram, everything has to be curated perfectly. Yes, I am this. It just is such a different vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my thoughts on TikTok. Elise, you have any?
Not a ton because I don't have TikTok. I don't use it, but I know a lot of like small businesses, that were really like TikTok was a method of how they were promoting themselves and making money, and so I know there was concern there. My thought is if there's a demand for something is gonna supply it. So I feel like either Instagram would have morphed to be more of those things that people like about TikTok, or I know a lot of people were moving on to like other apps that were similar or whatever. Like, I don't think it would have been like, that would have just been a total deficit, like it would have gone and nothing would have happened and everyone would have just like shriveled up and died,
Yeah.
But I can like, no hate, no shade to people that enjoy using TikTok or use it for, to benefit their businesses or their brands or whatever, so honestly, yeah, I mean, I think security is important. I think we need to have a mind towards that. But I'm not qualified to say what that needs to look like. I have really no desire to say what that needs to look like. So if our government feels that they can come up with some kind of arrangement with the whatever TikTok parent company is owned by, I don't know, China's not our enemy, but like somebody that doesn't need to necessarily have our information, like we don't need to be making ourselves vulnerable to, people outside of our country or within it that have nefarious purposes. So I think always just being aware of what the risk is of any given thing,
Yeah.
So if people get to keep using TikTok, I'm happy for them. If it ends up being whatever, taken down again, I think that people are creative enough and smart enough to figure out how to keep surviving, without.
And I want to add to that, if you're listening and you want to be a content creator, influencer, whatever, like in content creation 101, you don't own any platform. You don't own Instagram, you don't own Facebook, you don't own TikTok. They can go down at any moment. You need to have your hand in multiple buckets.
Yeah.
So I hope this is the lesson, a wake up call, because there are people who were making like $5,000-$6,000 a month on TikTok, which that's more than I get paid personally. They're making all that just from TikTok, and they had no idea what they were going to do because they didn't have a YouTube channel or they didn't have Instagram. Now that's the other thing too. Instagram, YouTube, they're not going to pay as much as TikTok because the way the algorithm works. I mean, that was a big thing too. The way the algorithm works right now, or at least in the past, the difference of how much you get paid is significant. I do think Instagram, YouTube, I think they are going to change some things up because they see that TikTok is like I think this was a wake up call for those businesses too. That, okay, we got to do something to get for more people to come over here and like to attract more people, because people were even saying, well, I don't think I'm going to go over to Meta So they need to do something to fix their algorithm and whatnot. So
Mm-hmm.
just if you're listening, like I really want to encourage you, make sure you have your hand. You have a YouTube channel, a podcast, a Facebook, and Instagram, and TikTok. You don't want to just have a website. You want to have a website, a
Mm-hmm.
Patreon even. You want to have all these different things so people can, so you don't just have this one source of income. That's just my 2 cents on there.
Yeah.
So I said we should be 45 minutes or less. It's been 51 minutes. Do we want to do one more story, or I do have a question I want to ask you that I meant to ask during the inauguration segment, or I'll ask that, but we can also do another story. Or you think we should stop?
I think it's totally up to you because I'm not rushing off anywhere, but whatever you think is.
It's kind of long. Do you think 52 minutes is kind of long?
Maybe we could. I mean, we could always do another episode another time.
That's true too. Like we can, yeah. It doesn't have to be. So let me ask you this. This
Okay.
is back. I think actually it's an inauguration question.
Okay.
I think that both sides will say that Biden did not have a good legacy. He's not leaving behind good. I mean, I listened to Breaking Points, and I want to say Crystal has even said like this was not good. He his legacy is going to be like pulling out of Afghanistan, Israel, and Palestine. You know, all the other messes. I can't think of. He didn't even do TikTok.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't even say TikTok. Like TikTok put all the credit to Trump. So like, it's just not going to be, it's sad. It's sad how this turned out. My question to you is, well, one other part of this. So they always talk about how in the 3rd grade, he said he wanted to be president. So he has lived his dream. His dream his whole life was to be president. And he has lived his dream. My question to you is, would you rather live your dream and just leave a tarnished legacy that just isn't good, like gross, or never achieve your dream, but like go out kind of on a high? Like you didn't get this one thing, but everybody, reverends you. Your legacy is not tarnished. It's
Right.
pretty good. Which would you rather?
I think I don't even know if that's a question. I think I would absolutely I would rather operate within my giftings and the opportunities that are available to me and do that to the best of my ability and make an impact there than I would be some obscure goal that I set for myself when I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
And it's like come hell or high water, I will be president. But it's because it's not about what you want. At the end of the day, your life is not about you. Your life is about how you serve God and how you serve the people around you. So if I was just dead set on becoming president of the United States, so help me God, I was going to be president, but I ruined people's lives. I was responsible for people dying in like the Western North Carolina, the way that was handled.
Yeah.
I mean, just like, and I'm not going to say that this is all Joe Biden's fault, but there are things that he probably could have done to improve the situation. And even if it's not a decision that you directly had a hand in, that's part of being a leader. That's part of being the head, is that the falling short of the people that are under your supervision falls on you. Mm-hmm. So I think that the things that have happened during his, presidency are things that he has to live the rest of his life with, for good or for bad. And that, to me, if it was known, which I feel like it was, that he was unfit to be our commander-in-chief, I think you have a moral obligation to find a new dream, to let go of the thing that in your mind you may have built up as a really important, really crucial thing. It's not. The lives of the American citizens are more important than what you think you want to do or should be doing. So I would rather just do the next right thing that's in front of me. If it never leads to the place I thought it might lead when I was 8, then that's okay. I'm gonna reach the end of my life knowing that I was faithful, with what I was provided with.
Beautiful. To piggyback off of what you said, I agree with you completely. I think that part of growing up, part of being a Christian, part of maturing is letting things go.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that was one of the lessons I learned is letting things go and like not all dreams come true. And I know that's like really tough to hear, but I
Yeah.
think like once you realize that, you still should have dreams and goals. But like just realizing like sometimes it doesn't come true. Sometimes things you gotta pivot.
Yeah.
And I think that like that's just a lesson that not everybody learns because we all I mean, of course you want your dreams to come true. Of course you want to reach this one goal you've had your entire life.
Mhm.
But, like, sometimes that just doesn't happen, and I think that there's just certain types of people who just can't let that go. And I
Yeah.
think part of being a Christian and, like, trusting God and, like, putting your faith having faith, it's, like, letting that go and just, moving forward and pivoting.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I
so
think I'm just thinking about like The Greatest Showman since we were talking about it earlier. And like I think that's such a like a key theme in that story is the main character has this dream, like he needs to prove that he's better than the poverty he grew up in, the abuse he grew up in, like he needs to make something of himself. But in the process of making something of himself, he neglects the things about his life that were genuinely important, like so focused on the popularity and the fame and the acclaim that was your dream that you don't realize your children are growing up in front of you and your
yeah,
wife is, like
really
needs you.
neglected.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. And you have these people that through your journey of your life that come to depend on you, or admire you or look up to you, and you're so busy chasing the next big shiny thing that you leave them behind, and hurt them. So it's like, you know, just taking opportunities to refocus and say, okay, do I want this for me or do I want this because I think this is actually something that I can contribute to,
Yeah.
like really make a positive impact in, so just to tie it all back in,
Yeah. It
the
all
Greatest
comes back.
Showman.
Yeah, it all comes back to The Greatest Showman. And you know what? It's never enough because what really matters is your relationships, your friendships, your love,
Mhm.
God. That's why it's never enough to have all the things.
Amen.
Okay. Thank you everyone for listening. And Elise, thank you so much for coming on. This was really fun. We must do this again.
Must.
And you guys let me know which one would you rather. I'll also probably post on the Instagram too, just to have a discussion. Which
Mhm.
one would you rather? Let me know what you guys think. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure you share it, rate, review, subscribe, all of those things. Elise, if anybody wants to like follow you or like learn more about your book or anything like that, tell us how
Oh
they'll do.
yeah. So I'm primarily on Instagram right now. I need to diversify and get on other platforms, but my Instagram handle is Elise the Bibliophile. So that's BIBI. Wait, hang on. Anyway, look up how to spell bibliophile because I know for a fact I'm gonna tell you wrong. Anyway, I'm on there. You can look up Elise Sainor, Seanor. I'd love to connect with anyone who is
Yeah.
interested.
Awesome. Thank you again for coming on, and everyone, please rate, review, subscribe, comment, let us know your thoughts. See you on Thursday. I'm so excited for Thursday's episode. You guys are gonna love it. Learn lots of things, really juicy, lots of tea. So yeah, have a good day, night, evening, however, wherever you're listening.
Bye.